all these abnormal, weird factors and the extra stresses of the 21st century bring us to a point of non-adaptation way sooner than our bodies were ever designed. Your emotions have direct access to the functioning of all your organs and glands. The low frequency and the high frequency is parasympathetic and sympathetic function. There is this place in the middle where they're both exactly balanced. It's a very special state, homeostasis between the two. Zero stress in the system. It's your true safe place. In meditating, I have to be able to reach my safe place, to open up all my doors and windows to the universe and let it in. We use precisely tuned sound frequencies, playing through your body, sweeping from 50 hertz to 200 hertz, go to your safe place. This state of consciousness causes homeostasis. You have to continue exercising in the gym until we've Arnold Schwarzeneggered up your autonomic nervous system response. So it's like, bring it on. You know, and the more things that you can align properly, the closer you get to the magic door opening. What was it like on Earth 3,000 years ago?
The heart coherence that we are kind of referring to is when the heart and the mind and the emotions are in energetic alignment. And so we obtain that state through rhythmic breathing through the heart and then experiencing elevated emotions. So that process together puts people in this really harmonious state where a lot of healing benefits, a lot of magic.
Are you
Is there a certain, so there's a certain kind of breath work thing, a respiration at a certain speed, or
Yeah, well,
is it
the
intuitive?
speed, the speed is really questionable, depending on who you ask, but it's really like an intuitive thing where,
An intuitive thing, yeah.
yeah.
You're,
Well, really what
you're
you're trying to do is balance your parasympathetic and sympathetic.
yes. Um, yeah, okay. Just of interest.
Yeah. No,
I
we
mean,
love questions.
I'm not sure we want to go down the road or the subject of what I'm doing with heart rate variability. We have this really advanced system. Um, it's different. It's the thing with heart math is uh, essentially a biofeedback emotional management technique that has now started to use a breath work thing, because there's no doubt that heart rhythmicity, space between each heartbeat that's being measured in HRV, is a combination of the electrical signal coming down the vagus nerve to the SA node of the heart and making it squeeze,
Hmm.
and the respiratory function, which is hardwired into it. As a matter of fact, when I was going to school, we learned it in one class. It's not two classes, heart and respiration. It's called cardiopulmonary physiology. They're so hardwired together that they can't be separated. So it makes sense that if I was, and because the emotions are deeply associated with breathing,
Hmm.
that if my emotional state is agitated, I'm breathing harder, and my adrenals are firing, and my sympathetic is on, and all these things, cascades of things are happening. And if I'm calm and relaxed, then parasympathetic is going to dominate. My respiration goes slower. Uh, and the space between each heartbeat starts to shift
Yeah.
to more variable the more my heart slows down, which means my respiration is slowing down. There's two big giant divisions in heart rate variability. There's the medical professional version of HRV, and there's the layman's version of HRV. So the layman's version is a Fitbit or an Oura Ring or a finger clips called PPG. That's what HeartMath is using with an ear clip, I believe now.
Yeah.
Anything that will give you a reading of the pulse, which is a measurement of a heart muscle contraction, squeezing the blood into the arteries and making them expand and contract. And so the finger clip is measuring that, or the Fitbit is measuring that, or whatever. and you're getting a picture of the space between each heartbeat, where the more variable is the more healthy, and the less variable is the less healthy. High HRV versus low HRV. But to get the good, sharp picture you need for medical conditions and stuff like that, to really measure. You're measuring EKG, like the patches that go in your chest that read the electrical signal of the heart that you see in medical movies, right? The QRST complex, the boom, 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 boom. So you're measuring that. You're measuring it from the origin of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is a little organelle inside the center of your brain called the hypothalamus. So inside the center of your brain, there's a little triangular zone, shaped, by the way, like the pyramid of Cheops. In the center of your brain.
Yeah.
And inside there are these little teeny tiny organelles, microscopic little organelles, and they've got fancy names that I had to memorize. But that zone is where the origin of the sympathetic and the parasympathetic arise.
Wow.
Little tiny organelles with a name. And so the anterior hypothalamic nucleus is the origin of the parasympathetic nervous system in that zone. And the posterior hypothalamic nucleus is the origin of the sympathetic nervous system. And nerves come down from both of those down through the brainstem. Sympathetic continues on down and exits out with the nerve roots at each spinal limb. And the parasympathetic comes down the brainstem and exits out the brainstem with 11 other pairs of cranial nerves that all have names. As soon as it exits out, you put a name on it. That's called the vagus nerve.
Oh.
The vagus nerve goes down, innervates all the organs, including the heart. Its connection to the heart is special because it's a feedback loop between the respiratory centers and the heart that have instantaneous feedback into the autonomic nervous system, where it's modulating and changing it and dancing with it, and and all of that is tied into the emotional control centers. So here's the hypothalamus in the center of your brain, and there's two loops on either side, one on either side of it, which is the hippocampus and the amygdala. That's the emotional control centers of the brain. And they're hardwired right into the autonomic nervous system. Hardwired. That means that your emotions have direct access to the functioning of all your organs and glands. That's how you can have physical symptoms from emotional causes playing themselves out physically by changing the function of various organs through an emotional input. Any place that you tap into that system, you can jiggle the spider web, right? You tweak one little stand of the spider web and the whole web vibrates. So if I come into that system with a sound wave, like how we're doing, we've got the world's most sophisticated heart rate variability machine. We've got a patent on it. It's a live feed where you can see the sympathetic parasympathetic function live, updated every second on a screen as a graph. And how you're doing that is because the EKG version of HRV collects information that the PPG can't get. The PPG is measuring the space between each heartbeat. That gives you the general classification of high HRV versus low HRV. Am I relaxed? Am I stressed? Is the variation wide or more variable, which means I'm more healthy, or less variable, means I'm less healthy. The medical version gives that information as well, but much more in sharp focus because you're measuring the electrical event down the vagus nerve to the SA node of the heart that causes an explosion of electricity that sweeps across the heart muscle and makes the heart muscle contract. That's where it comes from. And the EKG is measuring that electrical event, not the heart muscle. So PPG is measuring the heart muscle and beyond. And there's things there, like what about the heart muscle health or the valve health or the arterial walls level of elasticity or the blood that's being pumped? Is it got a lot of cholesterol? Is it thicker? Is the resistance? And all of those factors are adding themselves up on top of the pulse. That's why it's not such a good, clear, super picture. You need the electrical event before the heart muscle to get the good, clear picture of what's happening straight from the organelle inside the hypothalamus to the heart. And that electrical impulse has got vibrational frequencies in it, in hertz, like sound waves, right? And those frequency bandwidths are set forth by an international standards committee on HRV that shows very low frequency resonances, low frequency and high frequency. And the low frequency and the high frequency is parasympathetic and sympathetic function. And you could combine math with that and pop up graphs to show you a visual display. And that's what you can see on our screen. You can see the sympathetic and the parasympathetic and their level of balance. And then you could do some very high-end measuring to see how balanced your system is. For instance, when you lay down your back, well, let's put it the other way. When you're upright, gravity is pulling the blood out of your head. And so the barometric receptors in your carotid arteries, wrapped with these nerves, are signaling constantly to the autonomic nervous system, what's the pressure in the brain, right? If it starts to drop, alarms go off and the sympathetic turns on, kicks the adrenals, raises the blood pressure just enough to equalize the gravity, and it creates a new set point for something called homeostasis. Complete zero balance in the sympathetic parasympathetic nervous system called homeostasis, zero stress in the system. That's a special state. When it's sort of sympathetic parasympathetic, something like on a seesaw, it's way more complex than that. But let's say if sympathetic is going to be on, parasympathetic is going to be off, and vice versa. But there is this place in the middle where they're both exactly balanced, and neither one of them is on to any degree whatsoever. It's a very special state, homeostasis between the two. Zero stress in the system. It's your true safe place. And the ability to get there gets harder and harder and harder because of the 21st century. So your personal story has got traumas and stresses and all that kind of stuff, and it gets more as you get older and you learn to adapt to higher levels of stress. That's called allostatic load. That's the medical terminology for it. Allostatic load is how effectively is my autonomic nervous system adapting to increase this level of stress in my life from the outside world and from the inside world. And if it gets too much, if the stresses in your life get too much, and what I'm saying is it's easier for it to get too much because our bodies were never designed for a 21st century environment of weird electromagnetic fields from your walls that's man-made, 5,000 military channels and AM and FM and shortwave 1 and 2 and smart meters and traffic jams and fumes and weird junk in your food and the 6 o'clock news cycle and the world is burning and all the rest of that. We're not made for that.
Our mission here at the Heart Coherence Collaborative is to get people in touch with the healing power of the heart.
And we really need your help. Right now, only 1% of viewers subscribe. We are aiming to take that number to 6%.
The reason why we want to do that is the more people that subscribe, the more people in the world can learn the magical practice of heart coherence.
So please help us out. If you've ever listened, if you love this message, please just take a moment to subscribe.
Thank you so much. We love you.
We love you.
We're made for waking up with the sun and grabbing your spear and go chasing some little animal. Sympathetic turns on for both of us. It's all over in 5 minutes. It's a straw fire. And if I catch the animal, then back to homeostasis. And I'm going to cook the animal and I'm going to eat the animal. Parasympathetic turns on, empties the reservoir into my gut. And when that's done, it comes back to zero. All the energy goes back in the reservoir. The reservoir can only be full if sympathetic or parasympathetic is not using it for some reason, right? If sympathetic is on, it empties the reservoir and it empties your gut, elimination system, immune system, higher brain centers, into your muscles to fight for your life. And the internal physician program and the management program that tells all your systems what to do is temporarily disengaged because it can't run without fuel, and the fuel just got emptied, right? So it's supposed to be for a short time. And when I eat the animal, parasympathetic turns on, empties the reservoir. So that's temporarily disengaged. That's okay. I'm feeding myself. And when that's all done, comes back, reservoir fills up, internal physician program, management program comes back online, uses the energy to work on its never-ending list of collecting signals from all the systems in my body and sending signals out to harmonize everybody. So I'm healthy, perfectly healthy. That's a neurological picture of a perfectly healthy person. But what we see more and more in the 21st century is all these abnormal, weird factors of the 21st century and the extra stresses of the 21st century bring us to a point of non-adaptation way sooner than our bodies were ever designed. Your body is designed for a sprint, and you're living in a marathon. And it doesn't take much for most people to hit the wall. There's no possible way of adapting to all this. And so your body goes into this your body goes into what's called low allostatic load, which means I've reached my top. I can't adapt anymore. That is recognized worldwide as the cause of disease. It's called stress is the cause of disease? No. It's my autonomic nervous system's ability to adapt to stress that's the cause of a disease. And if it loses that, then the sympathetic is now on all the time. And if the sympathetic is on all the time, this creates a sort of a mind-numbing cascade of events where, just think about it, if the sympathetic is on all the time, everything's empty. The reservoir is empty. My gut is empty. My elimination system is empty. My immune system is compromised. My higher brain centers are on instinctive mode. Memory, concentration problems, gut problems, digestion problems, toxicity problems, because those are offline, right? There's no energy to run them. It means I'm constantly sort of quasi-starving. The food that I swallow and go down in my gut, even if it's good stuff, it can't be digested properly because the energy is not there to do the whole job. So it's sitting at 98.6 degrees, fermenting, creating toxins, but the toxic elimination system is offline. So my body's going, what am I supposed to do with all these toxins? So it starts to stuff them in your fat tissue. It's emergency mode. You're not supposed to have toxins stored in your fat tissue. You're supposed to eat it. You're supposed to digest it. You're supposed to shit it out on a regular basis. It's not supposed to accumulate, because if it does and you can't crap it out, your body's going, what am I supposed to do? This is emergency mode. We're going to stuff it, store it. Guess what? Same thing you're doing with your emotional traumas. You're supposed to eat them, digest them, and shit them out. They're not supposed to accumulate as engrams in your subconscious mind. That points to the fact that homeostasis is not your regular state, that sympathetic is on all the time and this state is missing, and therefore the management program that digests the emotional traumas is offline, and they're forced to be stored in your subconscious. Self-defeating belief systems start to spin from this, right? You start feeling bad about how bad you feel. That makes you feel worse and makes you feel worse about it. Now you've got this vicious series of cycles going. So our innovation, by the way, is we can hook you up to this fancy monitor. We put it on the wrists, positive lead, negative and ground, has to go through your heart to complete the circuit. We get the sympathetic, parasympathetic popping up on our screen. We lay you down on your back. And now all of a sudden there's no more gravity stress. So we'll see a persistence of sympathetic that's on when you first lay down. It takes about 1 to 3 minutes for it to collapse back. The body's going, hey, no more gravity stress. We can turn this off. So it goes through dials and pull switches and slowly starts to come down, hits homeostasis to 0 point. And we're watching for that. It should happen in 3 minutes. If it doesn't happen in 3 minutes, or it happens in 5 minutes, or in 10 minutes, or never, then we have objective clinical proof that you have a runaway fight or flight response and you're in trouble. The question is, how much trouble are you in, and how long has this been going on, and how long has your system, how long has it been since nobody's managing the store? Because when it's not, all your organs and glands and biochemistry and meridians and all the rest of it are starting to drift because there's no conductor conducting this orchestra anymore, and everybody's just sort of on their own. They're getting more and more inefficient, and the alarms are firing off, and symptoms are showing up, and people are going to their doctor, and the doctor tests are all for pathology, but you're not pathological yet. You're still in the holistic zone, functional imbalances. That's where holistic healers and doctors work in that field. But for us, it's now we can see this persistence of sympathetic on. What are you going to do about it? For us, we use precisely tuned sound frequencies. Because we have a real-time system, I created a sound sweep of a sine wave playing through your body through a specially designed sound chair. And it's sweeping from 50 hertz to 200 hertz. That's 2 octaves. Very slowly. It goes all the way up to 200 hertz and back down to 50 in 4 minutes. So it's a slow untuning coming through your body. And we're watching as it gets closer and closer to the frequency that works for you. We're watching right on the screen the sympathetic collapsing of stress response until it hits 0. Computer pops up a screen and says, here's a frequency that makes 0 happen. And now we have a frequency accurate to a few decimal points that if we play that frequency, this happens. You go to your safe place. Everything, and the internal physician program is back online, looking at its nightmare list that's been abandoned for a decade and starts working on the list. Because the healing only comes from the internal physician inside of you. It's not coming from me. I'm the physician's assistant, so to speak, trying to find out where's the blockage. But I know that if I play this tune, this balance is going to happen. The interesting stuff starts to happen from that point on. Because now you're in the realm of acoustic physics, that the wine glass idea, it's the science of coupled oscillators, sympathetic resonance. If I ping the wine glass and hear that note and sing that note, the wine glass vibrates. According to acoustic physics, every octave of that note will also make the wine glass vibrate. 1/2 that frequency, 1/2 that frequency, 1/2 that frequency, that's an octave. Any of those notes will make the wine glass vibrate. Any harmonic will make the wine glass vibrate. Law of octaves, the law of harmonics. Harmonic third, harmonic fifth, harmonic 7th, 11th, 9th, 13th. Those will also make the wine glass vibrate. It's the same with your body. We found a frequency where the anterior hypothalamic nucleus inside your hypothalamus in the center of your brain, that's the origin of the parasympathetic nervous system, and we're ringing it like a wine glass. And that returns it to normal. The parasympathetic controls the system. When I have a fight or flight response, the parasympathetic turns off and the sympathetic turns on by default. So if I can grab control of the parasympathetic system, I can control the system and bring it back to balance, this 0 point where neither one of those is on. So that means that I'm going to calculate the lower octaves and play them through your body through the sound chair and activate the vibration sense network, which is a whole separate animal of healing than the hearing network. But I'm going to line them both together. They're going to be synchronized up. If I continue calculating the octaves below 20 hertz, all of those frequencies are brainwave frequencies that are precise to a few decimal points. So all of a sudden now I have a list of beta and alpha and theta and delta and epsilon and gamma and default mode and all the rest of those. We deal with 22 brain states that we've been researching for 30 years. Using binaural beats and brainwave entrainment now reaches a new sort of clinical level that you've never considered before. Because now if I entrain your brainwaves to say the theta frequency octave that the calculations pop up with, I'm training you to that. Your frequency, say 5.138 hertz. I entrain you to that. According to acoustic physics, every octave of the wine glass tone makes the wine glass vibrate. That means that this state of consciousness that we just entrained you to causes homeostasis in the autonomic nervous system. And you can test it pretty simply. Play no sounds. Just two tones, slightly out of tune to 5.168 hertz. And homeostasis happens on the computer screen from a state of consciousness that we just entrained you to. That means we've identified hardwired programs in the brain that whose specific job it is to turn on the healing program at an autonomic level. Because homeostasis is a prerequisite for healing. You have to have the reservoir full and the system looking and collecting information from the body and sending signals back down in this feedback thing. So now all of a sudden we can understand sleep a bit better. When I'm first going to sleep in alpha, the transition zone, brainwaves slow from beta crossing over the bridge of 13 hertz down into alpha. And at upper alpha, I'm more awake than I am asleep. And at deep alpha, I'm more asleep than I am awake. Right? It's a mental zone. It's a holographic internal mental zone. Is where self-defeating belief systems reside. But as my brainwaves are slowing down from 13, 12, 11, 10, someplace in there is this magic frequency that we just figured out. That's an octave that makes this happen. And when your brainwaves hit that, it picks the lock for the neural program. And in the autonomic nervous system, it makes homeostasis, turns on the healing program for my mental faculties. And then it goes down into theta, dreaming sleep, REM sleep, and it hits that next octave frequency in theta and picks the lock of that neural program and heals my emotions. Then it goes in delta and heals my physical body, physical recuperation. Then it goes into epsilon, heals my metaphysical body. The interesting thing is that we can pick the locks of those programs artificially and make them run without you having to go to sleep in a session. It's also a prerequisite for meditating. In other words, in meditating, I have to be able to reach my safe place, my zero stress place, the place where I have no concern about my survival at all, anywhere. That is completely gone. I feel completely safe, completely free to open up all my doors and windows to the universe and let it in. That's very hard place to get to. And if you're running any kind of percentage of a sympathetic on imbalance, you've got a vigilance program running, and I can never completely relax so the doors can open. It also means that whoever I go to for healing is banging their head against the wall because the healing program is not in place. I've emptied the reservoir and I've got a little sympathetic thing happening. It's so from this standpoint, if I return you to this place where you feel safe, there's an emotion associated with that. And that emotion is a place of peace, safety. And out of that grows empathy and forgiveness, and all of the positive emotions come from this positive state. So instead of me trying to learn an emotional management technique to try to tweak the spider's web by me with my small mind trying to figure out how do I do this thing with my emotion? One way you can do that is do a breath control thing. Okay, so I'm going to learn a breath control thing, and that's going to bring me to my emotion. When, from this standpoint, you're not trying to manage emotions. Emotions don't work that way. They manage you. You know. So if I can use science to pick the lock of a program that returns me physiologically to my zero stress place, my safe point, then that's the safe point for my mind, the safe point for my emotions, the safe point for my body. Goes into a certain relaxation state that I usually have to go to get a massage to get. Mm. It brings me to this place in myself where the positive emotions that I'm searching for come from inside me. I don't have to try to manage myself to get them from learning techniques in small mind. Mm. I'm letting big mind go to a place where those emotions, when those doors open up, the emotions come out. Those emotions come by themselves. To me, that's the healthy way that things need to happen. And now you're in a position where every day you're going to listen to a soundtrack with some headphones on for 30 minutes. And that is going to put you into this state. And every time you do that, and this happens, and you do it day after day, and every time you do it, this happens, now you're going to a gym. Going to a gym for the autonomic nervous system. You're muscling up homeostasis. You're muscling this up as a new set point for your normal function. And eventually you've muscled up to a point where that is your new state. Except the 21st century is so weird, it's not good enough any longer to bring you back to a normal set point state, because that's what got you in trouble in the first place. 21st century requires a new set point of normal, which means we have to continue exercising in the gym until we've Arnold Schwarzeneggered up your autonomic nervous system response. So it's like, bring it on, you know. The stuff that used to blow you away before is like bounces off of you because you've muscled your stress handling capabilities up to a new level. That I think, you know, there's a poetry in it from the standpoint that it's the 21st century that's bringing us to our knees, and it's the 21st century to the rescue. Right? It's high-tech monitoring devices that we've never had before, high-tech sound devices that can, you know, tune between C and C sharp by 100 steps with a digital readout. It's brainwave monitors, it's brainwave entrainment, it's delivering low frequency sounds into every square inch of your body with a specially designed sound table. It's like this, those things didn't exist before. what was born out of the distant ancestral past, where meditation was first sort of invented. That environment, think about what that environment was 3,000 years ago. What was it like on Earth 3,000 years ago? Right? No television, no cell phones, no electricity, the world was quiet. There was dirt paths. There was no highways. The pace was different. Your alignment with your symbiosis with the biosphere of planet Earth and the cosmos was different. So we just had the spring equinox. And for most people, I didn't even notice. I didn't even know what happened. I mean, maybe it's something on your calendar, the top of my day planner's got Easter, spring equinox. No, but before that, people were waiting. They knew it was coming. They knew that the day length and the night were going to be exactly the same length, that these celestial machinery is slowly churning and crunching, and the wheels are coming around, where the length of the day and the length of the night are going to be exactly equal, because they knew that at that moment, a big, giant celestial door opens up. And you have the possibility of communing with the universe in a way that doesn't happen. It's like an eclipse. These things were celebrated. People put, flowers in their hair, and they had bonfires, and they danced, and they sang, and they celebrated a celestial event. And there was dozens of celestial events. It was your attunement with the universe, your attunement with other living creatures in your sphere. It's I think the broken heart of humanity that has lost its indigenous self. It's lost its indigenous connection with life, other life forms on the planet who are our brothers and sisters in life. Not something that's on the side of the road, not something that we can just use. And our relation to the cosmos. I mean, think how long you have to lay on your back at nighttime, every night, looking at the stars until you can see patterns and recognize those stars. Right? That's anyway. That's what I believe, and with all the the people of like mind that I talk with, that's what we're yearning for. That's what we're trying to find. We're trying to find our way back in a crazy 21st century world. And the next step after you find your place back, it's the reason why I sort of would like to create a t-shirt that says, "Waking up sucks." Because when you wake up, what do you see? You see the 21st century of misery and imbalance and the loss of the soul of humanity, and how far you've come astray yourself, and how much work it's going to be to get yourself back. It's not convenient to eat real food. It's not convenient to to try to meditate or to do all the things that you have to do to be a real person in a real world. Stepping aside from the artificial world that we've created that is doing us in. But once you've done that and you started to plant yourself back and you start to see the things for what they are, you realize that from the standpoint of quantum physics, the reality that we are experiencing is a reality that we are creating by mutual consensus in a subquantum infinite mind field. There's an infinite field of resonance that's creating standing waves, an infinite number of standing waves interacting, and each one of them solidifies into something like a you and a me. And pokes its head up out of the ocean and looks around and sees other people like, like you and and you realize that, excuse me, but you're not actually over there, and I'm not actually over here. Those are just words people made up to describe something that never had divisions in the first place. And if the next moment from now is what we are all deciding it's going to be under the hood, not here, big mind, collective unconscious mind, that the world that we're living in right now is what we have voted for, right? And if you don't vote, if you sit at home on your hands, then the world that you get is what other people voted for. And that spiritual apathy, I'm not participating. If I don't manage the system, if I don't have a working relationship with the universe, give and take, back and forth, if I'm sitting it out, then somebody else is going to decide what my world is. And then I get pissed off because I don't like this world. And who are you supposed to be pissed off at? You can only be pissed at yourself. It's for you abdicating. And so once you have awakened up, you realize that the reason that waking up sucks is because it comes with huge responsibilities that you can't slough off anymore. You can't not see it anymore once you've seen it. And then it's up to you. Am I going to now consciously abdicate? Or am I going to do something about it? Am I going to do something to change this world? And that's where the 100th monkey idea comes in, that if there is enough of us thinking the same thought about what world we want instead of this one, I mean, out of all the infinite choices of what any world could possibly be, what the hell is this all about? Why did we do this? I mean, out of all the choices we could have had, this is it. This is what you get when you let the system just take over on its own and roll dice. This is the absence of management. It will always reach its ground state. It'll always go to its lowest common denominator through entropy. This is what entropy looks like. This is what humanity abdicating its indigenous connection with the universe and thinking it knew better. This is what that looks like. This is the price you pay for that. And now for us who might consider ourselves light workers, need to seriously grow up spiritually and take responsibility and roll our sleeves up and get to work. And the work is all inner work with each other. It's aligning of forces and meeting other people who think the same way. And there is power in numbers. There's power in aligning that together. And that's, once again, where technology can help. That's, if you have, I'm sure you've probably participated in one of the, big Zoom events that's a Save the Earth Day or Heal the Planet Day. And there's all kinds of very cool people there doing sound baths and meditations and playing music and giving good talks and all of that. And then at some point, everybody's going to meditate for world peace. Sort of underlying that is the idea that everybody understands that there's the 100th monkey idea, that if you get a minimum number of people together projecting the same picture of what world we want, then it's got a possibility of coming true. It's like, it's all based on 100. You know what the 100th monkey thing is?
Yep.
Washing we just want everybody to wash their sweet potatoes and all of a sudden it's everywhere.
Yeah.
everybody in the world is washing their sweet potatoes now, right? um, but think about it for a minute. When it gets to the point where you've got 10,000 people all sitting and meditating for world peace, number one, no two people have the same idea of meditation. Number two, no two people are going to the same meditation state. Number three, no two people have the same idea of what world they want. So it's like herding cats. It's like you got the whole thing right up to the point, but you didn't put the lens on the camera. So there's no focus, there's no alignment, there's no agreement, there's no melding of the hearts and the minds to a single vision. And technology to the rescue once again, that you can, it's what I'm doing with my live streams on Sundays, the Global Mind Link project. That now if I've got 30,000 people around the world. When it gets to this point, everybody's going to put headphones on. I'm going to play a brainwave entrainment soundtrack to entrain everybody's brainwaves to exactly and precisely the same place. And that means that this group mind comes together in a single focused spot. Now we've at least stacked the deck in our favor, and there's only one element that's still missing, and that is the intention. What do you want? What do we all want? And there's a version of that that's personal, like the kahunas have it down really well from Hawaii. That belief system, Huna, God grants all prayers. Therefore, what I'm experiencing right now is what I prayed for in the past. Prayer happens before a thought. It's not from here, it's from here. And it has to have an emotion involved. I need to put myself in a state of consciousness where a vision arises of what the world would look like if it was perfect. And I have to visualize that to a point where it gets real. And how I know it got real is that I feel an emotion. As soon as its vision is real enough that it hits an emotion, that's when the kahunas recognized that that prayer got deposited into the universe correctly, and all prayers get answered, right? So so it's sort of like, you have an audience with the Great One, right? The infinite spirit, God, whatever you want, who says, you can have anything you want. All you got to do is ask for it without words, before a thought, with an emotion. Picture it, find that place. And you go, well, I don't want to be poor anymore. No. That's not how it works. There's that pesky word poor that you just deposited into the universe. No, you have to imagine what it would be like if I didn't know what poor was. I have to envision what my life would be like with perfect abundance. My birthright, by the way. Or perfect love, or perfect health, or any of those. You have to be able to envision it. If you can't envision it, you can't have it. So this concept of using technology to entrain your brainwaves to a certain state that EEG research around the world has shown is associated with you coming in contact with that space in yourself where that vision might come out of, is how you use the 21st century to fuse a connection with your ancient past, where the two of those can now work together, where meditation can't be what it used to be. It's a candle flame in a hurricane now.
This was so.
You need a blowtorch.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was so amazing. And I know we have to go in a few minutes, so I don't want to leave without getting some specifics about, are people able to sit? I don't even know what this machine is called. I've never heard you name it today or on some things I've listened to. I'd love to
It's
know.
called it's called heart rate variability. It's called real-time heart rate variability. It's a new type of thing.
And how can people access that? Is it available right now?
Yes, there is.
How can we come
There are
specifically?
Yeah.
practitioners, trained and certified people who have these systems all over the world.
Okay, cool.
There's a network, and we're all connected together. It's like a movement. Change the face of healthcare.
We would love to try it. And, honestly, I just
Where are you?
we're
Where are you
in
guys?
we're in Maine and Massachusetts,
Mhm.
but we unfortunately have another, interview after this.
Yeah.
But I actually feel like
Well,
we could literally talk to you forever.
I know,
So
me
I
too.
I think instead of like rushing it, I think we should just do a
I'll give
follow up.
you.
Can we,
Yeah, I'll give you an. Yeah, follow is fine. I'm going to put in chat here
yeah.
for you. Um,
Yeah, we love this. And this feels actually like very needed.
I'm sitting here just thinking, wow, like this is so amazing and magical that answer that you just gave found its way to our group. I'm beyond grateful
It's
for what just
extremely
happened.
relevant.
I think it's my
the
favorite thing
support
too.
is I collective. I'm sorry, that should be
Yeah,
.com. Uh, Send an email and say, I want more information about biotuning.
yeah,
That's what it's called. Biotuning practitioners might be near me. There's somebody that we've trained on the East Coast who's closer to you that you won't have to fly all the way here to California and San Diego. There's people around. There's the websites, scientificsounds.com, scientific sounds with an S.com, Sky Collective. It's both Sky Collective and SKYE. Sky Collective and Sky Dash Collective both get you there. There's Sky Lounge. That's our facility here, where we've got the chair and the equipment, and you can become a practitioner. You can buy the equipment and get training and get certified and do this yourself.
yeah,
Make a living. If you're in practice, you add this to your practice, and it becomes the centerpiece because you have to have homeostasis and the 0 point for the internal healing program to be online so that any therapy or healing that you go for has a doorway to the center of yourself.
mm,
Otherwise, it's got resistance. The person is banging on the door and it's not open because the system's disengaged. But if you can use this to engage the system, now any therapies, any holistic approaches that you've got go straight to the center of the system, and it becomes a whole new animal of what happens with energy work or massage work or um, hypnosis work or suggestions or visualizations or breath work now becomes a new thing. If you're trying to unlock emotions with the breath work, you make sure that the breathing rate is tied to, the brainwave state in theta that unlocks the healing program for emotions. Right? If yours is 5.168 hertz, then you start doing divisions by octaves, and you find the tone that you chant with the mantra that resonates you to that, or you time your breathing rate to an octave or a harmonic of that. You do EMDR with an eyes moving at the speed of an octave or harmonic of that. All of a sudden, this thing starts to come together. There's a scientific approach of alignment, and the more things that you can align properly, the closer you get to the magic door opening. Something new happens when you pay attention to these kind of details.
yeah. So
Something.
this was so amazing, and I already know that this conversation is going to resonate the most with our group, and so I really look forward to continuing this conversation. I'd love to just talk to you in the next few days, get all the possible ways that our community can support you, because this was so meaningful beyond anything I can even put into words.
Thank you.
So, yeah,
And so the place to is support@sky-collective.com. Send an email there. My son, Shay, is the CEO of our 4 companies, and he will answer any question that has to do with logistics or setting up an appointment or any other questions about this process. He can answer most of those, but he can pass those questions on to me and I'll answer you.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, we look forward to supporting your work. This was amazing. So, do you have
Thank you
anything you
so
want to
much.
say?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It was great being here, although you guys didn't get a chance to get an edge and work.
We're gonna do this again. We're gonna have to
We have
because
some more questions, but it was perfect.
I know. I think what I would really love to do before we go is just I would love to go through this process and then come back and interview you again. Have us both go through it and then share
Yeah.
that experience. And I know our community's gonna want to
Talk
do this
about
too. Yeah.
couples therapy.
Oh,
That
Yeah.
group therapy. I was hired by big companies like Mattel and Cisco and Nike to boost creativity and problem solving in a team of people.
Wow.
So we have everybody sit in a circle and hold hands. So now
yes.
you're connected electromagnetically and split 2 people apart and put the pads on one wrist and the other person's wrist. So now the connection can't complete unless it goes through everybody's heart, everybody's nervous system. This on the screen is the entity of the group.
Wow, that's super cool.
Stress. Now you do a sound sweep until the stress collapses. I just scientifically collapsed the stress for the group. I did that for Mattel. They won a dozen awards and won the biggest award you can win, Innovative Toy Design of the Year. And I ended up in the Wall Street Journal with an article about the crazy guy doing the sound stuff.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, so yeah, let's continue this conversation. Thank you so much for the work that you've done in
Thank
the
you.
world
Okay.
to get you to this point. This was so great.
And we're
Talk to you
sending love
later.
to everybody.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you.